What's up, bro?
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh wow. How did you add me?
You must have clicked the link. I got the link in the chat, so you clicked the link, and so now you're live. We got what?
Oh
30,
no.
yeah, you're live. We got 30 people watching. So, what do you want to tell the people?
No, nothing. I'm just from England. I'm biracial. My dad's white and mom's black, and big supporter of your channel, bro. Keep at it.
Hey, shout out to you, man. I respect that. I got a lot of love for the mulattoes out in England. Probably to me, some of my favorite people, most beautiful people. And I've been to England. I connected with Afro-European Monica out there a couple years ago. I plan to go back. So you guys have my support as well. The feeling's mutual. So yeah, shout out to you.
Yeah, thanks, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Is there anything you want to add to discussion, or you just want to kind of hop up here and say what's up?
I just wanted to hop up and say what's up. I didn't even know what the link was. I just clicked on it, but yeah, I just think going forward, we definitely should have more of a community. I think as biracials, we don't really have any barriers as much as black people do. So we've got a lot going in our favor. So yeah, just small steps, one step at a time. I think it's really important to support networks like yourself, man. So shout out to you.
Yeah, I appreciate those words, man. I really do. I'm just doing my part. I'm doing what I can, and I just encourage people to do what they can as well. Create a channel, create a blog, a social media page, and if you don't want to do that, just do what you're doing as well, right? Like support other creators, support other people that you feel has a positive message. And as you said as well, like we don't have that many pages, we don't have that many spaces that cater to us specifically. So it's really important that we show support and we promote our pages because other people they have large social media following. Some of these creators they got millions or hundreds of thousands of followers, supporters, and they have huge spaces. And ultimately, what they can do is drown our voices out. And that what happens a lot is they minimalize us, they marginalize us, and they invalidate us. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm a victim. I'm not. I'm just using my voice saying that this does happen. These majority groups can oftentimes they trample us and basically push us to the side and invalidate us so our voices don't get out there. Like, no, it's our time now too. We have a voice
Mhm.
and we need people to hear it. But yeah, shout out to you.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult because a lot of biracial people really lean more to the black side, or they have loyalty to the black side, or maybe they don't know their black family but just grew up around white people. So it's definitely going to be, it's more of a revolution, to be honest. It's going to take time, but I've noticed that more and more biracial people are definitely more proud of who they are, and they're not afraid to stand on their square and say, you know what, I'm not exactly black, I'm not white, I'm biracial, and I'm proud of it, and I don't have a problem with it. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of backlash as well, especially from a lot of the black males. Maybe they feel some sort of way with more biracial women identifying as biracial, and maybe they feel that they're going to lose them, which is quite big here in England because you never really see black men with black women. It's always with biracial women. So
Mhm.
black women have definitely been left out of the loop. So yeah, but shout out to you. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that's a really good observation. Appreciate you.
take care.
Yeah, you too. Take care. Thank you, man.
Bye.
I see Blaxican guy in the background. You're the what do you call I see you in the back, but I'm unable to add you because it says your device is not. Oh, there you go. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
Okay, what's up, Milan Vanguard?
Hey, what's up, man? I mentioned a shout out to you. Appreciate you for your support as well. And I mentioned earlier, like several minutes ago, about this guy. I think his name's Ricardo. He's on TikTok and he panders to a black African American primarily audience, but he talks shit about like other Latinos. He'll throw Dominicans under the bus, like and call them colorist. But his whole audience is like black, bro. We're like, doesn't that like isn't that kind of funny?
Yeah,
Like he's a
I've did a
panderer.
few. Yeah, I've did a few. I guess interviews or I don't know how you would word it, but conversations with him. He's uploaded to his Facebook, but yeah, yeah, I brought that up to him. Like these people, I told him the Dominicans don't look like black people. The ones that they go up to the most is the mixed ones. They never press actual black people in the Dominican Republic to identify as black. They always target the women. I,
Yeah.
Everyone sees it. The Dominican men see it. The Dominican women see it. Everyone sees what the Bantus are doing.
Yeah,
It's obvious.
just like the gentleman who was on the panel that's from the UK, he mentioned too, what it is a lot of times they fear that they're going to lose access to the females, right? And that's why you see guys like Phil Advice Show. It's funny, I was running, jogging to the gym the other day, and I popped up in my head. I thought about this, like Phil Advice Show. I did a couple streams where it's like he talked about this Dominican woman saying she's Dominican and not black, but he targeted her. Remember, he targeted the South African colored woman, Tyla, for
You
identifying as
know,
colored.
it.
And he's
If you,
married.
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to finish off by saying, but he's married to a Mexican woman, but he's pro dark skin and he tries to gaslight mixed women around the planet, whether it's Tyla or Dominican women or Creole women. He did a video on a Creole woman. He tries to gaslight these mixed women for not identifying as black, yet he's married to a non-black. It just shows you the hypocrisy and how they look at women as an easy target, so they target the women in their identity to try, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you notice, whenever any even on the internet, all the black men that complain about Dominicans not identifying as black, they always use a woman. 100% of the time. It's not even South African colors. They always use women. They always are attacking women and uploading pictures of them and saying that they're brainwashed. They never press. They never go up to press men. I've never had a black man press me in the real world or any of that, but I have seen it happen in the real world with the women.
Yeah, it's because they look at the women as an easier target, and that's my speculation. That's why they're heavy on trying to like police their identity.
Yeah, I've noticed that like, a lot of the women cave easier to things than men. Men are gonna stand on what they believe in for the most part. Women are gonna, like, not all women, but it's easy to get that. It's easier to punk a woman than a man on
And
what they believe in.
it's
That's
easy.
the
Yeah, it depends on the type of person. I think it all individually depends on, because there's a lot of weak men who can be maneuvered, right? And and basically kind of, yeah, they can be maneuvered and manipulated. So it really depends, because a lot of my supporters are mulatto women who are like super like proud to be mulatto or biracial, and like, and they share a lot of information. Like, I have a pretty good network, so a lot of these women, they're not being fooled, like, and they like will talk shit behind the scenes about some black people who try to one drop us. Like, there's a lot of mulatto women that I in the DMs, like, we're clowning, goofing, and talking shit about some of these people we see on social media who try so hard to like, interlope in mulatto spaces and just gaslight mulattoes to identify with them. It's laughable. But a shout out to Flowers. Yep.
I don't know if you notice this. Whenever light skinned people are dating, they always make the reference of brother and sister, trying to make it seem like it's
It's
basically
weird.
incest.
Yeah. That's their
I don't know,
creepy.
like,
Yeah, that's their creepy pathology creeping in. Yeah, they project a lot of their own pathologies onto us. That's what
because
that is.
I know Phil Advice Show with that Creole woman. He was trying to push that she was an inbred. Like, if you really understood the undertones, and then you go into the comments of that, they were all trying to paint them all as a bunch of inbreds.
Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, I did a reaction to it, I think like a year ago. It's been a while. But yeah, no, that's what it was. Yeah, that guy was trying to push that whole narrative, and other people in the comments. That's a popular narrative, even like with the whole like MGM thing, like with multi or generational mulattoes, we can say. A lot of Black Americans will try to say that they are grape babies or that they got lighter skin because of grape. They'll push that narrative when no, these are just mulattoes who basically stayed with other mulattoes for generations down the line. But over time, they basically just they took on this black identity because it was more advantageous. It made more sense because the mulatto communities were kind of dissipated. The Creole communities, mulatto band communities, a lot of these Blue Vein Society, a lot of these in the Brown Fellowship Society, a lot of these communities dissipated over time. So a lot of these mulattoes basically just took on a black identity. You see that with like Dr. Claude Anderson. He's one example. But yeah.
Yeah, that's I'll always think about him. I'm like, 'cause he's the poster child of wasting your time with these people. He's going not to be messed up, but he's gonna die wasting his time trying to help these people.
Yeah, but he's been able to profit off of them as well because he's has
Yeah.
books. He can sell his books to them. Like I'm saying, I don't feel too sorry nowadays for mulattoes who quote unquote waste their time, because my whole thing is a lot of these mulattoes, they're still getting something out of the deal. They always will. Like like they can sell books, they can be leaders in the black quote unquote black organization. So it's like they're still getting something out of it. And I tell mulattoes, you don't have to like me, but like just get something out of the whole ordeal. If you're dealing with people who want to use you or something, like make sure you get something, because yeah, yeah. I want to hear what Flowers has to say. She's been waiting patiently, so go ahead and speak, Flowers, please.
Hi there, good afternoon. I'm happy just listening. It's Ramadan and I'm fasting, so I'm kind of sleepy. I just wanted to say that after the video that was on that other channel, I'm not going to mention it yesterday, where there was I guess like a quote that was referring to the 1705 definition of what a mulatto is. And that definition in 1705 was a native and black person. It excluded whiteness. What's interesting about that is 1705 is British America. That wasn't during the United States of America era after 1776, the Declaration of Independence. And then after the Declaration of Independence in 1776, then we have the 1777 Articles of Confederation. So that's basically the beginning of America as we know it. And so why it's important is because the act declaring what persons shall be deemed mulatto is from 1785. And that definition is a black and a white person, mixed race. And so because it was after the independence of 1776, you have to wonder and question, is this the were the native indigenous people of British America being recognized with the status of white in the independent America of 1785. And why that would make a difference is because, and I typed up a quick throw together of information for you. So I was going to read that on my channel. It's probably just super boring. The thing is, why that's important is because to only define mulatto people in British America in 1705 as being black and Indian, that would mean that mulatto was never identified. And so black, white, mixed race people were neither Negro or Indian. They weren't mulatto. So they would only have been like white colored people or white tan people or tan white people or just different shades and variations of whiteness. That would make a huge difference as to how we are perceiving history. And so then here's the other thing, and this is why it's so almost silly to push the narrative of Black Native people in 1705 being the definition of mulatto, obviously for linguistic purposes, because mulatto is not an English word, right? However, when you think about, okay, why did it go from from Black Indian in 1705 to Black and White in 1785. And if the Indian population was being recognized as white in 1785, that would mean that all white people have a right to claim being indigenous, because all indigenous people would have had the right to have the white status in 1785. So my point is, when people are excluding us, especially in my situation, because my father is Black Native and my mother is absolutely Caucasian. So the only difference that it would make for me is, according to the British America definition of mulatto in 1705, I would just be identified as a white Caucasian European mulatto mix. Whereas, and then would be probably free because partus sequitur ventrum, having been born from the womb of a white woman. Whereas to identify with the free independent America of 1785, in the act declaring what person shall be deemed mulatto, I would just be identified as a complete mulatto. So it's like, so many people, they have like this ideology going on right now, where they're like pushing this agenda of a 1705 definition that mulatto people were not white and Black, they were actually native and Black. The only thing that's doing is it's allowing for white people to say, okay, we're indigenous too, like the Indian population of 1785.
With that, Flowers, I seen a lot of that with the kind of, pretendian arguments, like the people who were like, we was indigenous and shit, like I see that with that crowd where they're saying, well, we were never slaves. You just don't know your true history. There were no slave ships. We are the real indigenous. Like that's a lot of that I see where they're trying to talk about the whole mulatto category and stuff. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, yeah, you're going to get caught up in those like circular arguments with those type of people because and you mentioned this the other day too, where you see there's a lot of progression going on with mulatto identity, the consciousness growing. So there's a lot of people who are trying to crowbar their way into this, where they're basically trying to make it to where a light-skinned Black person, right, is like they're trying to say they're mulatto now. It's like, well, no, like there's a difference. There's a difference. And but I see that there's people trying to crowbar into this situation because I don't
Or
know,
they
they want to identify as something other than Black, which I get it. They just have to do their own, try to set up their own situation. But the mulatto thing has been here for centuries. And we're just like reclaiming it, basically looking at the history, drawing inspiration from the history, and trying to develop something new that like, or that caters to us, because the Afrocentric stuff is not working out for us over here. And it's not because we didn't fit in, it's just because we weren't being authentically ourselves. It's just not normal for us. We weren't true to ourselves. So, because people will push that narrative, well, you just couldn't fit in with them. No, no, no. We all can be
I fit
leaders.
in just fine.
I
I'm
know.
in the South. I'm okay.
It's just
In
we
fact, I'm okay where I'm at. There's, I'm a poor person, so my area is pretty rough. The thing is, I've been here since 2016. So it's not as though, I'm so, nervous and I can't be here. I'm here, people know me. It's not a big deal. Those are like the things that people say to intimidate. And that, it's kind of interesting because I really like, of course, I'm older, mashallah. My whole goal is to get mixed race, Black, white, mixed people to a point in society where they can be safe to be themselves, and it's okay to be beautiful. It's okay to be pretty. And it's okay for the men to be handsome. It's okay to be strong. It's okay to be kind. It's okay to be balanced between black and white. And it's okay. And we don't have to lean towards one side or the other. And the reason that's so important is when I was growing up, I didn't really have that opportunity. And I realized when I was a mother, because I was married at 17 and I was a mother at 18, I was hyper vigilant. I was super protective of my children because I felt like, wow, they're actually very, they have the same complexion as me. They're very similar to me in phenotype. And I was really protective of them. And I homeschooled them, and I hovered everywhere that they went, every activity. And I was realizing gradually I am actually guarding them from what I was not guarded from. And it was having to be a guardian from the black and the white. And
That's the mulatto dilemma, right? Like you we
yeah.
and that's why it's so essential that we have our own spaces, that we
Mhm.
can come together and brainstorm and figure out strategies to navigate society, have dignity, ultimately be a good person, but be proud in your identity as mulatto.
Yes.
Or in the case, yeah. Check out this comment here. It says thoughts light skinned blacks come from mulattoes. Some do, but not all. And the reason why I'm making the distinction is because people have to have a clear parameter and guideline of what is a light skinned black person. I haven't seen that done. What I am seeing is darker skinned people who are reclassifying themselves as light skinned to crowbar their way into the mulatto group because they see we're progressive. We're in a sense where we're moving forward and we're galvanizing. That's the thing. They have to that there are some light-skinned black people who do come from mulattoes. I get that. But there's some who might have one like mulatto grandparent, or even one, if you're one mulatto parent and then one black parent, well, yeah, you're light-skinned black, but you're not mulatto. So that's the thing. Like they just have to set up clear parameters and guidelines. And I'm seeing a lot of them, like people who are like dark brown are saying they're light skinned now. That's why skin bleaching is so popular in those communities, because they're trying to be like less black, to attach themselves to us and get closer to whiteness, so to speak. And go ahead, black skin guy, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, wouldn't it be just easier for to make a reference point for you to be 40% to 60% European? Because you're not gonna look like a light skinned black. It's gonna be obvious that you're mixed.
Yeah.
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 Skin black, it's gonna be obvious that you're mixed.
No, yeah, I agree with you. The whole having some type of parameter. With us, it's very simple, like white parent, black parent, regardless, mulatto child, mulatto offspring, two mulattoes create a mulatto. In some cases, there could be, some admixture, so to speak, but for the most part, you're 50-50 or 40-60 is like my cutoff range.
When people are mixed race, they know that they're mixed race.
But there's mixed race people who identify as black, and we're looking at them like, bro, I know, like, it's like there's guys who identify as women and vice versa. Like, it's there's this type of thing where people think there's something they're not. Um, the thing is with me where it's like I tell people, well, I'm mulatto, but there's people who like try to argue me, and they just give me content really at the end of the day. But
Right.
they're trying so hard to argue me like how I identify. But it's like when they want to be able to tell you what you are, but when you tell them what you are, they have an issue with that. See, they don't want you to have autonomy and ownership over yourself, and that's what it comes down to. And I'm trying to encourage mulattoes, like, yeah, you guys got to be proud. When you guys are proud, more people are going to be proud. Then they start to see that we have spaces that are developing, they're going to grow, our voices are getting out there. is promulgating through social media. Even like on biracial awareness's page, he has prominent mulattoes who have like liked his post or followed him. I think the rapper, his name is he's like a quadroon guy. He's biracial. He identifies biracial, but he's more so like quadroon, looks more white. I forgot. I think his name's Logic. He liked one of his posts. Amber Rose liked one of his posts. Sage Steele followed his account. So you have a guy like that with like biracial awareness, like these high, we need more of those high profile type mulattoes who are going to engage in this discussion. And it's just only going to grow from this point.
Mulattoes who are going to engage in this discussion.
I don't know if it's Wi-Fi something. There's like a lag there. Black skin guy, did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your. I agree with a lot of your points. And yeah, there needs to be a separation, because if not, we're not going to be able to progress. They are not going to do anything for themselves. They want to just leech on. If they're not trying to attach themselves to mixed people, they're trying to attach themselves to natives or anything, but they don't want to do anything.
Yeah, well, my whole position right now is I'm not anti anybody. I mean, I'm anti people who are anti me. I can say that. If you're against me, I'm not going to support you. And that's it. I'm a man. But like my whole platform, my position is not to like clown or mock or this specific demographic. We have our own autonomy and ownership of who we are here, and we're public with it, and we're proud of it. And we're not going to allow people to try to sabotage us and try to invalidate our voices. Like those days are over, bro. Like I tell people, like they still think they can try. They can't silence all of us. Like, no, those days are over. We have a voice now, and it's going to grow. But you're right. Like some people, they can't just fix their own situation. So they want to latch on to us and try to bring us down so they can feel better about themselves. I'm over it. Yeah.
And
So
it doesn't make sense for us to be a part of their community whenever we bring up our own issues with them or anything like that. They want to silence us, so they want us to be up below them. No, I don't play that.
no, I'm with you. You know me. I'm with you 100%. I am in 100% agreement with you. That's the issue. That's why people think I'm like, more, I guess, radical in a sense, because yeah, like the allegiance or having that kind of partnership, it's at this position, it doesn't make sense because yeah, they don't want you to be the representative of their group. They don't want you, they don't want Drake to be a representative of black skin or dark skin black male masculinity. They don't want you representing them. They want you to just help them and be underneath them as a subordinate. It makes no friggin' sense. But yeah, and then they just want the, yeah, you already know what's up. Black skin guy, you know what's up. You've been studying this stuff, and it's very apparent now. Like it's just interesting.
I've noticed this before I even turned like 18. Like everything we're talking about, most of it I understood before the age of 18 because it's so blatant when they do it. It's
Yeah,
not hidden.
it's not hidden. They're very open with the anti-mulatto rhetoric, and even like I said, with the light skin jokes and stuff like that, which applies to mulattoes because we're lighter skin, but only in the black community. But there is a heritage and cultural component that's different. Like I say, from like a mulatto person, like in the case of Flowers, I know she has a white mom. I have a white mom. So it's like if we weren't raised in a black community, we're just different than like,
Yeah, I didn't grow up light
yeah,
skin because in my family I'm not light skinned. I'm actually the dark person in the family.
yeah, good point. Yeah.
So I didn't grow up being light skinned. I just grew up being mixed. Like, you know. So that whole light skin label, it just does not it doesn't mean anything to me. And especially like when you're around, 90%, 95% white people. And the other thing is being around so many people from other countries, because I'm Muslim. So I have a proximity to people from East Asia and West Asia and North Africa. I'm not light skinned around them either. I'm the same complexion as them. So being light skinned, I would actually have to be predominantly around dark complected people. And that's just
Well,
not the majority of my social interactions.
I I agree with what this guy's saying. Like he said he doesn't really favor the term light skinned blacks. He's saying light skinned blacks would just have to create a new term. It's sickening at this rate to even coin. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's what I think black skin guy. You saw the video I have. It's over on my Patreon. That because someone created a flag on Reddit that was bizarre, but nevertheless, what I said is
yeah,
like, yeah, like with light skinned black people, I think a lot of them is if you are mulatto, yeah, but if you're not mulatto, like, but maybe one of your parents is mulatto or something, whatever, like just create something that's unique to you and don't crowbar your way like into the mulatto category and then just don't cry colorism like later on because with us over here it's not about skin color really, it's more the culture and heritage and the shared experiences. That's ultimately how a community, it's not a community based on our skin complexion, it's about the heritage. And that's the thing with the whole blue vein society, they use that their blue veins as a marker, but it's ultimately it was about the community, about the heritage component.
Mulatto Vanguard. I just wanted to ask a question. You
Sure.
lived around white people most of your life when you were growing up, correct?
It wasn't mostly white. I mean, I'm from Anaheim, California. So I did have
Well,
like white
non-black people.
non-black people. There you go. Yeah.
Um, as somebody who also grew up around non-black people, I never really heard them bring up skin tone as much compared to going around when you actually go around black people. They're always bringing it up.
That's the thing. That's why I'm saying this whole light skin thing, it's only some black American shit. Because whenever there was racism or prejudice, it was never about my skin color. It was about like a class thing or a phenotype or like the racial thing. Oh, you're a part of that group. That group used to be slaves. Like that was the angle they were going with. It wasn't about like the skin color. So you're right. Like most of the negativity I saw was never brought up about skin color.
Yeah, because my own adopted mom, she always would bring up my skin tone. But when I went out into the real world, not one person brought up my skin tone at all. And I lived in a city where it was majority white.
Yeah, you're from California too, right?
Yeah.
I know Flowers used to live in California as well in that area. So it's different. I remember Flowers, I agree with you where I was saying where like when we grew up, I'm a 90s baby, so I grew up in the 90s and even like early 2000s whatever, like identifying as mixed was never like frowned upon or seen as like odd. There's a lot of mixed people of different racial configurations like Blasian or Hoppas in the West Coast. So it was never looked at as kind of being odd. But in the South, it's more demonized if you're a mulatto because of the racial binary nature like between black and white, that power dynamic where they have enslaved black people, we're talking anglos, to where they've kind of conditioned them and conquered them and conditioned them to be subordinates and to be like court gestures kind of seeking white resources or adjacency. So when they see us, they look at us as like an anomaly, like a problem, a threat to the system, to the established order. That's why there's more racial hatred and animosity towards mulattoes in the South versus where me and Flowers are from in the West Coast. It's very interesting, you analyze this.
Yeah, it's probably because both the West Coast environment and the East Coast environment is more diverse and doesn't have that dynamic like the South.
Yeah, the East Coast is another one. I'm not from the East Coast, but I from what I've heard from other like mulattoes is that they've never had an issue identifying as like multiracial or mulatto or whatever. Yeah, I think the both of the coasts, West and East Coast, is more, I guess, progressive in that manner as far as racially and how you identify in the culture. But it's more of a, I think, an issue in the South for sure. But they're gonna have to get over it because like shit, our numbers are growing. Like we're more and more of us are coming up every generation. And so it's like it's our job to push this on society that we're not trying to mix everybody up and all this. That's not our goal. We're going to preserve our own spaces, have our own communities, and we're going to exist in this society with pride and dignity like everybody else. That's the message I'm trying to put. I'm not trying to overreach or infringe upon any other group. We're going to preserve what we have. Yeah. I don't know if your connection, Elroy Swartz, your connection's there, but um I can I can hear you if you want to talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's muffled a bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, man. Good
You're good.
evening, everyone.
Shout out to you.
I'm
Hey, thanks for joining the panel.
not a problem. I'm glad to be part of the whole life again. Thank you, man, for always fighting the good fight. Like I said in the comments, I recently also joined TikTok, so I didn't actually realize that the battle was that hectic because there's a lot of attacks coming on that platform. So I had to do a lot of pushing back against the narratives that are being pushed that platform. Have made a lot of enemies. I've also made some allies, so it isn't really all bad. But I think, and what I realized is that we are, and in some ways we're fighting the battle, but in other ways it's also very different because it's the same in the sense that it's basically mostly black people, bunches, trying to police our identity and always like they are so obsessed with mixed race people. So for the most part, it's them. And on this side, it's not really white people because white people they just minding their own business, doing their own thing. It's only a handful of black, right? But then it's different. The battle is different because we they are trying to basically get us to self-identify as black. So they want us to do away with our own identity, identify as black. So they want us in the black box. But for you guys on that, for some reason, for some historical reason, are already inside of the black box. They want to keep you inside. So that is the difference that I can see in terms of the battle between us and you guys. So yeah,
Yeah, you make an excellent point. It's very interesting, and this is something I want to explore more is the subtleties of that. And like you said, because yeah, the colored category has been recognized for years and it's beautiful. But yeah, they've been able to maneuver us with legislation. Flowers is definitely an authority as far as the dates and the judicial information and legislation as it pertains to mulattoes. She's definitely an authority on all of that and how they've maneuvered us into the black box by stigmatizing the word mulatto, taking off mulatto from the census. And yeah, like you said, now like they see that there's this emergence and growing of us when we're reclaiming our true identity, celebrating ourselves, but they're still trying to pull us back into their kind of crab bucket. And like you said, I don't see white people going over to any of my comment sections on any platforms trying to convince me I'm just black. They know the difference between mulattoes and it's black people who are trying to tell me, well, when the white police pulls you over, they're going to see you as black. You just haven't got your wake up call yet. Like, it's pretty hilarious to witness, but
Unless it's a black police officer.
then they're going to let you know you're mulatto. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
That's the part they always leave out is their hate for mulattoes. Yep. Yeah.
Or they use a sundown town reference.
Yeah, who the hell's driving through a sundown town? Like,
Even white people don't go there.
I know no one goes to those. They're like small towns. Like, yeah,
and
it's a
also
scare. It's a scare tactics. They want to
Why would
scare
anyone go
mulattoes.
through the hood in the dark? That
Isn't
would
that
be probably more dangerous.
that's a sundown town for white people, right? If a white person goes to a black neighborhood at night, but they don't colloquially call it a sundown town, but wouldn't that be a sundown town in this racial climate? Like with all this Black Lives Matter and anti-police and anti-white rhetoric, if it's a white person who's going through one of these black neighborhoods, like, see, but they don't push that same fear mongering tactic about the whole sun downtown. But like, there's still neighborhoods today where white people could be threatened in the United States if they go to a black part of town. Just look at all the rhetoric they push online, all the racism and anti-mulatto, anti-white mom rhetoric. Like, this is real stuff that people don't seem to highlight. Yeah.
You know, I always found it weird. They'll talk about the white mom thing, but they'll have a black friend that's married to a white woman with a mixed kid, and it's mind-boggling to me when black men talk about the white mom thing, but your homie is married to a white woman and he has a mixed kid. It makes no sense.
Or when they are talking about white people and mixed people and they are married to a white person or a mixed person. Or when they're married to a white person and then all of their children are mixed. And then they're talking about like light skin and how mixed people act. And it's like, are you not the parents of mixed people? So it's kind of weird.
I think they think like this. My kid's excluded from everything I say, even though it doesn't make sense.
That's not true, because all of us mixed people that are grown up that are identifying as mixed race or mulatto or multiracial, we all have monoracial parents, right?
No. When blacks are talking about when mixed people, they're excluding their own mixed kids out the equation, but they're still going to talk about other people's mixed kids. It doesn't make sense at all.
When people grow up and they're our age, then they're going to have to self-identify as mixed, because the world is not going to just, perceive us as being monoracial. You see what I'm saying? Like people like swirlers or people that are in interracial relationships, rather than being bothered at the things that we're talking about, they should probably listen and tune in, because we are the same identity as their mixed race descendants. So it's like in like 20, 30 years, they're going to grow up and they're going to be identifying like how we identify. They're going to have the same issues, very similar. Like, like things are different. Like I could say as a woman, like for example, like I don't comb my hair. I don't wear makeup. I just don't. And so for me, it's odd when, I'm teaching my daughters, you don't have to, be unnatural. You could just be natural. If your hair grows up or out or down, that's just how you are. And, and then like to be around people that are, like they're making everything like super processed, or like just, I don't know how to explain it. Like just always like focusing on like makeup and hair and this whole bling bling culture or whatever. It's kind of weird. And I think that we naturally appreciate how we are, because we're not necessarily trying to like fit in to a standard of what whiteness is, because we know innately that we're more than just being white, or we're not trying to fit into the standard of what blackness is, because we know innately that we're more than just black. And so we do have our own standard of self-expectation. And so it's kind of weird, like to be around people that they keep trying to like convince us, oh, you're black too, you're black too. White people have like not ever said that to me. And just to have people say things like, well, you're black too, it that's an insult. Like that's an
To be
insult.
honest with you, if you told a white person that you're full black, they'll side eye you.
Right. Right.
They're gonna be like, I have pictures. I've seen what actual black people look like.
Right, right. It's so weird. It's like people don't understand in the Black community, especially because I've been in all the different communities. They don't understand how offensive the things that they say really are. And other people tend to know when to like pump the brakes on the insults. And it's just so like interacting in the Black community is so derogatory. It's like you just don't know when the next insult is that they're going to hurl at you. And you almost have to like, like that term gray rock, like when there's so much gaslighting and you just have to just kind of like tune it all out and be ready for whatever the possibilities are. And they don't realize that. And when they say things like, oh, mixed people or light skinned people are so weak or, like passive, it's not that. We're just like ray rocking them all of our lives because they're constantly gaslighting us. So it's like, you just kind of like, like you're turned off, because of all the gaslighting that you experienced growing up. And they don't realize it. It like they can be so disrespectful, like before, like when I would be around a bunch of Black people just interacting, and I would like, like say I bump into like the table or something, they'd be like, oh, yeah, you're gonna get a bruise. You know how you light skinned people are. I don't want to be around them because of that. I
That's
don't like,
crazy. Yeah, that's insane. That's like straight racism and colorism, but
yeah.
it goes unchecked, right?
But they
Make
don't
those.
ask like, "Are you okay? Hey,
Yeah,
be careful." They don't have any type of empathy. They
right,
are
right.
just like criticize, like, "Well, you know how you light skinned people are." And that's like I avoid going to like if I go to the grocery store, I swear to God, I am aware this is a live stream. I don't care who knows it. When I'm out in public and I go like do my errands and I'm in the grocery store, for example, I avoid going to their cash registers because I just don't want the drama.
It's
It,
crazy.
yeah,
I get you though. I get you. Yeah. I mean, I would say like I went to a store the like a week. I'll let you speak in a second. Emancipation, you're next. Just wanted to add some final thoughts. I was in a store last week
okay.
and the cash register, and then it was a Black lady. But maybe yeah, because she was like I don't know, in her 20s or whatever. So she was all right. I mean, attractive enough to where I went to her line and wanted to get my stuff, checked out. But she kind of gave me an attitude, like she really was dismissive. She didn't like talk that much or look me in the eye. So I was like, whatever, just that nasty attitude. I get it. She didn't like her job, but I guess in an instance, if you're like an attractive woman, then you're at the register. I'll go to your line or something. But I get what you're saying, that like some of them, like you just don't want to go to their line. You rather deal with somebody who's more pleasant. I agree with that.
Right.
Emancipation. Do you want to speak, please? Um, you can go. You have the floor if you'd
Oh,
like to speak.
yes.
Yeah.
I just would like to say hello to everyone on the panel. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live. We
Oh,
got
okay,
people.
good.
Yeah,
I just
go ahead.
wanted to say, okay, great. I just wanted to say hello to everyone on the panel.
Hello.
Oh, okay, great. I just wanted to say hello to everyone on the panel and hi. And I've listened to some of you guys over the years. Well, possibly at Mulatto Vanguard a little bit longer. I've came across flowers because platforms that were trying to defend biracials and other people who are MGM and light skin Black or whatever. Do you remember light skin love flowers?
I don't know.
I don't remember light skin love. I'm not sure. Doesn't
Oh,
ring a bell.
you don't remember her?
Doesn't ring a bell.
It was a
No.
lady Well, I know you had a non and okay. Well, I've seen her, I think, on other platforms or whatever. And I would say that I agree with some of her stances when it came to like going to a checkout lane, because I'm seeing that there's like passive aggressiveness a lot of times if you go out, and you can pick up an energy almost as if like you kind of feel like you're gonna get bad service.
Yeah. Sometimes it
And
works. I mean,
I try to kind of avoid, and I never thought like that.
yeah.
Oh,
I
you
don't
were
know,
going to
but
say something?
yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say, for me, it just depends. If it's like, I don't just like go to another line if I see a black person at the register. Um, I just go to any register. I don't even care like what their skin color, what their race. I don't care. I'm just trying to get in there, buy my stuff, and get out. But like I'm saying, like there were two registers last week when I went to the store. In one of them, I think the lady was Hispanic or whatever, but the
Mhm.
one register, the lady was black. She was probably in like her mid 20s or whatever, and she looked decent enough. So I was like, oh, okay, let me talk to this chick. Let me get my stuff checked out before I leave. But then she kind of like wasn't interested, and she came off as kind of like arrogant, I'll say. So I was like, oh, whatever, you know. But that's my experience. Like, but I get it what you guys are saying. There's some people you kind of feel their vibe, their energy, and you just go to the other register. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just certain microaggressions that I've noticed, and it's not a feeling because I know at my age range, I'm not used to even thinking about this. Like this never would have been a discussion that I thought that would have been having online because we all kind of just saw ourselves as black.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty much would be considered a black person.
Mm.
So I never tried to like, let's just say mixify myself
Are you
to say that
mixed?
I'm a mixed person because I just don't know what that's like. But I do see, no, I'm a light skinned black person.
Okay.
Now I know that there's levels to that. I know people try to say certain people are light skinned black, but I'm actually like the textbook, like a Chris Brown color.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And phenotypically, I don't have, yeah. So, but what I was going to say about that whole discussion, I noticed that people like to try to make browner people who are browner
Light
than
skin.
myself light skinned. I
You're
don't
right.
relate to
Right.
that. They
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, they don't. Well, yeah, they'll have caramel skinned people. Someone like a light skinned Keisha, and I'm like, no, she's not having my experience. I may not be like a Chris Brown, but it's like there is an intersectionality where, let's just say, like a Raven Simone, where you're kind of like, okay, if I'm looking like that, and then you're also trying to say someone like a light skinned Keisha or like a Regina Hall, who's clearly like textbook caramel, and saying that they're all light skinned together, I have an issue.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I
online, people are trying to say that they're light skinned black people, and I'm just like, they're not.
yeah.
And
I think it's yeah, because
then
they
I'm the
face.
bad guy when I say that.
Oh, I'm the bad guy every day on YouTube. That's my whole thing. I'm the big bad wolf on YouTube. But the thing is, yeah, with the whole light skin thing, I don't really do light skin content because, like I was saying, there's no like real parameter to measure. It's just all over the place. And I don't like. I don't know. Like mulatto is very specific and
Mhm.
distinct to identify. Even someone who's like Afro Latino, like a Dominican mulatto, or like
Mhm.
Blackticans, like it's more obvious when you see us. But the light skin black thing,
Mhm.
there's no real like measure to it, and that's why my whole position has never been based off like a skin color conversation. Now there's some congruency, like that's why I like light skin history. Shout out to him. I like his
Mhm.
channel because he covers a lot of good material. He makes a lot of good points as far as this like open discrimination against light skinned men. Now it's from a male perspective because you have a lot of channels where they do talk about the discrimination against the women. You have like the exotical channels and stuff like that. So I get it. Like the women have their spaces and their conversations are out there.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of men
Yeah,
like pushing back.
but see,
Yeah.
a lot of times they like to. They lie to them. They like. Yeah, I just noticed that on a lot exotical side, they kind of like to push people who are not really light skin into saying that they're mixed or they're light skin black or something. And I'm kind of like, these people, you're saying they're me and I don't relate to that. They're entitled to feeling that way, but I'm kind of like, I almost feel like I have to have a platform for light skin people. Then you have the MGM situation where they'll still say they're light skin black, right? But then, well, I'm mixed too. And I'm kind of like, so what about that? Like, or, well, I'm mulatto. Okay, so then they can come into all of these little lanes, but light-skinned black people can't have their own thing.
Well, I
And
encourage light skin.
that's where I'm at now.
Well,
I wasn't like that before.
I encourage light skinned black people to create their own lane. From the start, from when I started, my whole thing was like, you know, a lot of people tried to frame me as this big, bad, anti-black guy. But I was like, look, we just have to have respect people's differences and autonomy. Like, I'm mulatto, and specifically, I'm like a mulatto voice. And it's a different experience than like a light skinned black person who's black identified or grew up in a black community. But I've always encouraged, like, they already have a lot of spaces. They just have to kind of fortify it, is what I'm seeing. For me, I definitely like curate.
Yeah, because what's happening.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's just that what I noticed with the light skinned people who are saying they're light skinned black, they have this sort of one size fit all mentality. They're not even exclusive.
Yeah,
and I'm kind
that's
of
the
like,
issue.
well, here you are saying, and I'm not saying anything against like not having advocacy for other races and other categories, but it's kind of like, why is it that when it comes to light skinned black people, they always try to be inclusive, but others may say, well, no, this is just only for, you know, mixed people, or like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what you're saying, but I'm saying like, I'm kind of seeing on the other side, it's almost like, no, well, we all mix. And
Right.
well, Cardi B, she's a light-skinned black woman too. And Tina Knowles, she's a light-skinned black woman too. And I'm kind of like,
Well,
there's differences, and that's okay. It's almost like you want them to be your face of what light skin is. You don't want to have us have our own thing. Not you. I'm just
You
saying
guys are
how I think I'm seeing it, even with the men.
black skin guy, you want to respond? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys really need to define it because it's getting to a point where Trey Songz is considered light skinned. I'm like, that's
Oh,
wait, what?
I can't. Oh God, yes,
Oh, I'm like,
yes, or
what? How is
genuine. They'll
that
say
light skin?
genuine. It's like
Yeah,
no,
they're going to be calling Akon.
exactly.
We're going to be calling Akon light skin pretty soon. Mark my words. Michael Jordan's light skin now, guys. Okay, guys. No, I'm just saying because
Yes,
there needs.
right.
I agree with you. Yeah, there needs to kind of be a clear like distinction. It will be challenging, but it can be done. The issue why I see what you said, a lot of people are too inclusive in that respect is because they're afraid, they don't want to be labeled as colorist or anti-black because they're still very adjacent to the black community. I'm not from the black community. I'm not a part of the black community. So for me, I feel very comfortable in my position where it's like, well, I'm not trying to get them as an audience. I'm not living with them. Like, I don't identify with them. So that's why my position's the way it is. But I feel like a lot of like light-skinned black people, they still live in black communities, they're still black identified, so they don't want to fully kind of exclude, if I can say that. That's why they're very kind of more inclusive in that regard. That's just my general thoughts on it. But you bring up a lot of interesting points. You guys, we're at the 2 hour, a little over
Yeah.
2 hours, little over 2 hours here. So I do kind of want to close things out because I got to go to the gym. I got to get my fat rear end in the gym and start lifting some weights or something. Okay. But I'll give everybody final words, you know, to finish the panel off. But go ahead, Emancipation, if you want to finish off your thoughts.
Sure. I just wanted to state that that I do support biracials trying to find their voice and to be individuals. And I also want to say that there are actual light-skinned black people that are not trying to, or at least I would say shoehorn it to say that they're biracial, because that's, you know, if anything, some may say they're MGM or whatever, but even for that, I'm kind of like, no, I even think the whole term black is even subjective, even for someone who is what's called light-skinned black. Even if the blood quantum, I still think there's a difference with myself and brown-skinned women and dark-skinned women. So I don't think saying mix for myself would be the thing to do, but I do think that that light skin black category needs its own thing and not, I guess, combined with people who would be considered MGMs. So just to let you know that there are light skinned black people like myself who do recognize they're biracial, and light skinned black people, there's a difference. And a lot of us are not saying that they want to be. I mean, I'm sure that there are some who, if you look at comments, they may, you kind of think, okay. But a lot of it, to me, it seems like it's people who are saying they're light skinned and or they're caramel and they're saying they're light skinned, probably posing to say that they're mixed or biracial. So I just wanted to be out there that as a light skinned black woman, considered light skinned black, I don't want to at least try to emulate a biracial. That's all.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you providing some form of clarity with that. And yeah, you guys have voices out here. I've always basically from the jump was like, yeah, I love the fact that they have these conversations, they have these spaces, because the whole colorism conversation from what I heard, they had light skinned black people who were having these discussions on, you mentioned a couple of content creators. The first people that I heard as far as like the mixed stuff on YouTube was like Exoticals United. Then you had a guy, Caesar Cannon, I believe he's light skinned black. And I heard of that Golden Sphere stuff. But even before the YouTube, I heard of the
he tries to say he's mixed.
Yeah. Before YouTube, it was actually on Instagram that I searched or it was a lady I was following. She shared a page of mixed race, like curly hair or something. It was a space for mixed women and their curly hair. That's the first time I ever found like a mixed space. Before then, like I wasn't even thinking about it. I just stumbled upon it. I was like, oh shit, you got mixed people now that are creating their own spaces. So I am a little late to the game, but I love seeing that people are advocating for themselves. And I encourage, I want to see more colored content creators. If you guys recommend any, share their channels with me, share their social media. I want to follow them and learn more about colored people, Dominican, Blaxican, all that good stuff. Thank you for hopping on Emancipation.
Yeah, because I appreciate it. And I just wanted to say also that, I noticed that there's clashing online with maybe Black people talking about biracial experiences, but I also see that biracial also try to come for light-skinned Black people telling us we need to check our privilege. And I'm like, wait a minute, how are you coming for me? I may support your cause, but here you are trying to check me. And so sometimes with the women, it's almost like I don't even know how to stand even with them because I'm biracial. I'm light skinned Black too. Some of them create content where you can't tell me who I am and stuff. It's like, okay, well, I mean, but how are you coming to talk about me? Then I had to deal with brown and dark skinned people talking about. It's almost like I'm just being ganged up on,
It feels like that. Trust me. As a mulatto man, it feels like that. Look at what Drake, the 20v1. You'll have everybody, and then that will unite people. People who don't even like each other. They'll like team up just to spite you. But that's kind of when you're winning, when you're the shit. That to me, that kind of strokes my ego. It's like, oh, okay, you guys don't even like each other. You got your own little battles, but you team up and congregate just to try to slander or hate on me. That's how you're effective. But shout out to you for using your voice.
That's interesting. Right.
That's just how as a male, my male perspective, that's just how I look at it. That level of competition, but I appreciate you hopping on here. I really do. And hopefully you can join the panel again some other time when I host a stream.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being over here. Appreciate you. Elroy Sports, would you like to add some final words?
Yeah, I just want to add some. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Your audio is good.
Okay, yes. For us, it's not really just about light skinned people because the colored people are essentially mixed race people. So, though most of us are light skinned, not all of us are light skinned, and one doesn't always have to be light skinned and be mixed. But the thing that puzzles me really is this pride of what is happening on our side from the Black people, some Black people, not all of them, but a very small minority actually, of trying to convince us that we are the same. Though we don't have the same history, we are not the same genetically, we don't have the same culture, we are different in so many ways, but for some reason, they have made up their minds that we are the same. We are. So that really, for me, is very puzzling. It's quite puzzling. But what I want to say also to you is that there's actually some very good content on colored people on YouTube. That there's this Black American guy actually, who a couple of weeks ago he started coming to South Africa and going into like exclusively colored neighborhoods and interacting with people and getting very good material actually. So if you want to learn, anyone is interested in learning more, then I think his name is Hudson Cooper, the Black American guy, and he's very respectful. He actually stands colors and he accepts them. They are. So he goes into colored neighborhoods and introduces them. And actually, you know what? Then started to imagine you playing kind of like that. So yeah, but that's why I'll leave it for now. But thanks for the life.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you hopping on the panel and showing your support, man. I'm just so thankful that you guys have found my material. You know, my dream was always to connect with these multiracial people around the globe, not just the mulattoes in America. I'm blessed to have a community, connect with people, but like also internationally now. Like I was telling the man in the UK, like I connected with mulattoes in England, but like now I'm connecting with the South African coloreds, and I'd like to eventually go to South Africa and connect more and interact with people there. That's my dream. And it's so I really appreciate you being over here and showing support. It means a lot.
You're welcome, man. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll talk to you next time. All right. Flowers, do you want to finish off with some final words? Then we'll get to Blaxican guy. Go ahead, Flowers.
I don't have a mixed race mulatto channel, so I don't know what type of content to do. I didn't get online doing any type of mixed race content. I just kind of get on and just really just talk to the people that have been subscribed to my channel since the beginning. And, you know, because I am culturally mixed race, I might be in a white mood, I might be in a black mood, I might be in a native mood, I might be in a mixed mood or a mulatto mood. And so I just talk about whatever, you know, whatever. So I don't know that I don't know that there's even a majority racial population that subscribes to me. I think like everyone on my channel is just, you know, different. I don't know why. You know, I've wanted to actually do mixed race content, and I've started channels. I'm not always in the mood to just focus on one topic. And I think the best that I could really do online is just like study and do research and just share that. It's kind of funny though, because something to note on my channel, of course, the people, you know, they're all different ages and everything. They have somewhat of a interest because they're related to mixed race people. So it's like the majority of the people that are on my channel that I interact with when I'm online, they have expressed that they have like a mixed race person in their family. And so it's kind of like the people on my channel, it's almost like interacting with my relatives, you know, like they relate to me and I can relate to them. So I like the people on my channel. I just don't really have a mixed race focused channel. I don't know. Shame on me.
No, no, you're good. I mean, everyone does their own thing, their own lane, but you still pay respect. I mean, you still are engaged in the conversation. I think that's the most important thing, because I have a lot of people that have other channels, other mulattoes, they have other niches in their other channels, but they still like what I'm doing. They still support ultimately what I'm doing, and I greatly appreciate it. So
You're my home channel. Like you're always the channel that I just go to. And all the people in my family have your channel.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
That's my goal. My goal is to kind of be like a prominent voice in this, and be a credible source where people can get this reliable information, a new perspective, and encourage.
And
And encourage,
representation. It's good to have representation. And it's
right?
nice when people are speaking your language, you know?
Yeah, it's clicking with people. People, it's resonating with people. They feel like they have a sense of tribe, community, and people are waking up. And I love to see it. I'm all here for it. That's why you guys motivate me, the people. So I appreciate you, Flowers. You know, I appreciate. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Likewise.
And
Likewise.
I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye. And Blaxican guy, if you want to kind of finish us off here, appreciate it.
Just my final thoughts are basically mixed people that have communities like Dominicans, South African coloreds, and such. I do feel that you guys have to, well, collective mixed race groups need to gatekeep, because I see a lot of, for example, a lot of Louisiana Creoles are getting flooded with AAs. I see more AAs claiming Creole than the actual Creoles themselves. So I do feel that mixed people, when you have your community, you need to gatekeep, because they're gonna flood your areas and then claim your identity.
Exactly. Exactly. No, 100%. That's why I think the light skin black thing is a sensitive topic, because where they'll someone who's black, like, you know, take your pick, like a Charles Barkley or whoever, man, like they'll say, well, that's a light skinned person. I'm like, yeah, I guess, but they're not mulatto. So don't try to claim them as mulatto, because the actual mulattoes will push back against that. And that's my whole thing. But yeah, like you see that with Creoles, where the like you said, it's funny because I do see that where there's black people who are trying to claim Creole more than, like, I see a lot of Creole people, right? I love to see Creole voices. I am subscribed to a few Creole channels, and I love to see.
I go ahead.
No, I was just gonna saying I love to see them talk about Creole identity, and yeah, and to preserve that, like the traditions, and embrace that. But I do see a lot of Black Americans crowbar their way into the Creole discussion. They're trying to, like, claim that, you know, and it's the same thing with, like, the Indian thing, right? Like, they'll try to claim that they're really Indian. So they do that in a lot of ways. So it's interesting. Yeah, with me, like I said, if you gatekeep and curate, like, you're gonna be labeled anti-black, you're gonna be labeled as colorist. I'm like, look, sorry to hurt your guys' feelings, but this is probably not the spot for you. Like, there's so many channels they can go to, but I don't see anybody calling out racist blacks. That's the thing I've noticed. Like, they get a pass to be anti light skin or anti mulatto.
Yeah,
But like,
one I read this comment about like 10 years ago. But it was about Cape Verdeans, the ones that are identifying as mixed. And then in the YouTube video, he called them dirty, poor half breeds. I'm like, and nobody gave that comment pushback. So they call you mixed people and mulattoes all these names, but when you make a comment towards them, they cry.
yeah, yeah, they cry, they try to sabotage you and get people against you, and then ultimately what they'll do is cry to their white massa to try to
Yeah.
get you up out of here. You know, that's ultimately what they're going to do. If they don't resort to savagery or sabotage, they will always defunct back to their white massa to help them out. But yeah, man, it's interesting discussion, interesting journey. But I'm all here for it. I'm here for you guys, and that's just my goal, is to make sure you guys have a voice and a tribe and a place to belong. Thank you for hopping on the panel, man. I appreciate it, and I'll chat with you pretty soon.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Peace out.